was reading about a study a week ago where a control group had kind of subconsciously suggested to them that we're associated with being old, and they started to walk like they were old.
Yeah, there's a ton of those studies.
I mean? Like,
Yeah, they grew out of. In the beginning, they were doing studies on empathy. They were empathy studies, right? Where they were priming people and seeing how they, treated somebody who needed help, right? I should point out, so there's all this stuff going back to the 70s that argue that a large portion of what we call aging is actually a result of language priming. And so Ellen Langer is sort of the queen of this, and she wanted to know how much does language priming contribute to aging. She was at Harvard, and she ran a study, we call it the counterclockwise study. The study I ran in Gnar Country may be the most radical study anybody's ever run in peak performance aging. This is the second most radical. She wanted to know really if you prime people for health and vitality in youth, right, if it would have any impact on health and vitality in youth. She took 16 basically 80-year-old men, and she started at Harvard, and she found a monastery in New Hampshire, a couple hours away. So she drove these guys out to this monastery, and they had tricked out the monastery. This was in 1981, and it looked like 1961. So they had all the magazines and books from 61, and they would have movie night, and they would show films from 61. And the people were divided into two groups. Group one, just reminisce about 1961, talk about what life was like 20 years ago. The second group, pretend it's 1961, pretend you're 20 years younger, and talk about current events, et cetera, et cetera. They measured every biomarker, psychological marker, indication of age, including they taking photographs of participants, right before and after. And on the back end, every single thing you could possibly imagine. Their health improved, their gaits improved, arthritis decreased so much that they got taller and their fingers got longer, eyesight improved, hearing improved, IQ improved. The list is on. And this was after 5 days play acting. And so many people said bullshit that this study's been redone now 3 or 4 times. They made 3 TV shows out of it in Europe, where they ran the study and just filmed it as a TV show because they just couldn't believe it. But this is one of the most stunning impacts, because this is very acute. This is literally like you're going to play act for 5 days and your vision is going to get better, your hearing is going to get better, your fingers are going to get longer. Come on, right? That sounds like crazy talk, except again and again and again and again and again, it shows up in research. And her research, what I like about it is she learned things in the lab, but she took them into the wild. A lot of people have problems with their studies because they're like, okay, there's too many confounds and this and that and this and that. Maybe there's something that to be said about that, but it's also, she's running this stuff in the wild with real people, and it's, it gets closer to the kind of results you're actually interested in also. So yes, there are confounds, but I think it's really worth paying attention to nonetheless, maybe more than some of the other stuff.